Hi, and welcome to the Severed section of the We Nearly Roads podcast, your hopefully now weekly recap from the severed floor of Lumion Industries. I'm your host, Neil G, and as always, I'm joined by my willing co-host, despite what you might have seen on social media, as I believe Marie's recent outburst about podcasting conditions was down to her using a non-lumen medication and alcohol. But anyway, I'm joined by David L, Marie S, and Jose L, and we are here to talk Severance Season 2, Episode 3, Who is Alive? Or as I'm calling it, Episode 3, Careful, There's Poop. And team, I am jubilated at your ascendance, and you will each find a recanonised portrait of yourself as Kia by the end of this episode. So, first of all, brief overall thoughts on the episode. Marie.
What the goat?
What the actual goat?
Yeah. This one was certainly the weird one. Out of it's like, oh, this is the weird episode of Severance.
David.
Yeah, I think it was maybe the better one because of the weirdest section. I like the first episode, actually. The first episode was really good. But this, yeah, I think maybe this is my favorite episode this season so far.
Jose.
I mean, I'd say overall, these 3 episodes have just been way more entertaining than the first season, the way it started. I feel like the first season was just kind of like, okay, we're introducing you to some stuff. Some of it's a little weird, but now it's like, no, we're just going full weird right now.
I think it's because we've embraced the fact that it's weird now.
Mm-hmm.
We know
needed
what
to build up to that, didn't it?
Yeah, I think
needed
that's
to build
the
up
difference. Yeah,
for the payoff now.
We've accepted that. Okay, this is this world. It's very different. It's not a regular world. It's just being weird.
I literally said I love the weirdness. You got the debut of Gwendolyn Christie and Mammalian Nurturables. The amazing needle drop. I have got so much on that needle drop at the start. That is literally a favourite song from my childhood. And the amazing scene between Seth and Natalie in the office as well. Because we can call him Seth now, which is a lot easier to type than Milcheck when I'm doing notes.
Underwhelming name, Seth.
It's not as bad as, in our last episode, it's not as bad as Trevor, is it?
What did you think he'd be called?
I don't know, like something more badass.
Marlon.
Damien.
I think in a Marlon. He looks like a Marlon.
Marlon.
I mean, to be fair, his real name, the actor's real name, is a million times better. Tremel Tillman.
Oh yeah, Tremel.
Tremel, that's a name.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anything's better
What's
than
up,
just
Trey?
Seth.
Okay, so after just like absolutely taking apart Milcheck's name, this episode was an hour long. The longest episode they'd ever made at this point.
Really? Okay. I felt so engulfed in it that I didn't even realize how long it was.
Yes.
I always kind of check. Well, actually, it is an hour, but that includes all the titles at the end, and then the little 3-4 minute behind the scenes things they're doing now, which I am now watching every one after as well, because it's kind of cool because they kind of summarize the main things that have occurred. So sometimes if you're not 100% sure on what the hell was going on, you can watch this and go, that's what they meant.
I love when they do that.
But it looked like we woke up in Fargo. Because it's like that big snowy vista and Cabell in the car. I was like, what a shot. I have to talk about this needle drop first. So, does anyone know the song? Has anyone heard that song before?
I don't think so.
I can't actually remember the needle drop even in the show.
It's been a week, Neil.
Yeah,
Guys, I'm gonna get so deep in this. So deep. You're gonna be like, Neil's brain is broken. No one is reading, and he's reading way too much into it. So the song is called "Love Spreads" by the Stone Roses, a band from Manchester. The song came out. I think the album came out in the late 90s. This song was the big song. Everyone on the floor at the indie rock club I went to in Canterbury every week. They played this song, and everyone was like, "Yeah!" and rushed down to the dance floor. If you can imagine me rushing down to the dance floor to an indie rock song, it was just exactly. It takes some doing. But the lyrics, okay, the lyrics to this song. Love spreads her arms, waits there for the nails. I forgive you, boy, I will prevail. Too much to take, some cross to bear. I'm hiding in the trees with a picnic. She's over there, yeah. Then it gets a bit darker. She didn't scream, she didn't make a sound. I forgive you, boy, but don't leave town. Coble tries to leave town and doesn't. Has anyone actually left the town of Kier yet? We haven't seen anyone leave the town. Cold black skin, naked in the rain, hammer flash in the lightning, they're hurting her again. Only the last one kind of makes sense there. Again, that could be in reference to Miss Casey. What are they doing to her? Is she kept in the dark somewhere? And then the chorus is, let me put you in the picture, let me show you what I mean. The Messiah is my sister, ain't no king, man, she's my queen. And then I have a dream, I saw the light, don't put it out, she's all right, yeah, she's my sister. Who's the sister in this song? And does it connect to the thing? Because they don't do anything by half. Like every lyric in that song is definitely going to correspond to something in this show.
I,
It was
I
just
I
like,
agree.
like that you say they don't do anything by half, even though Ben Stiller admitted that they just added a goat scene and then they had to write around the goats. So that's kind of contradictory.
okay,
Because
well, I
in
mean, I
season
did
one
say
they
I
had
went.
no idea what the goats were, and now they had to like add them in.
I feel like with the music supervisor who picked this song, they knew though, like, okay, this song literally has a bunch of lyrics that can connect to the themes of the show. Or have I just read too much into it?
I
No,
think song lyrics are weird. Like a lot of song lyrics are weird. Just pick any song. You could probably make a
I'll be
connection to it.
honest with this show. I think looking into the song is completely appropriate. It,
Yes,
yeah.
Jose. I mean, like the original, like the first few lyrics are literally all kind of about they got like the religious imagery, haven't they? You know, spreading the arms, nails, forgiveness. But it's an inversion of that because the lyric is the woman saying, "I forgive you, boy," and it's Cabell who's listening to the song. So it's like, is it because we're still not sure on a relationship between Cabell and Mark? Why Cabell's kind of like this weird rogue person now, isn't she?
Hmm.
Where she's like, well, she was kind of like the villain we fought in season one. And then it almost seems like Lumen, like, no, 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 you're crazy, get away.
Well, she
So
just
it's
seems
kind
to
of,
have an ulterior motive outside of the
Yeah,
work-related motives. Like
yeah.
she says, he's so close to finishing something.
Cold
Cold
Harbor.
Harbor. She's
Cold
really
Harbor.
Cold
obsessed with
Harbor.
wanting to get that. Like, why? Like, yeah, why
Yeah.
does she really want to get Cold Harbor done?
What do you
Like,
guys think
what
the
is it
breathing
for
tube
her?
is about?
Breathing tube. I literally am. Oh,
Okay. So in the back of her car is the breathing tube, which is from her shrine from episode 6 of season 1.
Oh,
And if you look at the like the label, it says Charlotte Cobell on it.
not
I thought it
Harmony.
was. I thought it was just her
No.
being in the hospital.
So that yes, but I think the name Charlotte actually indicates that it's not her. It's someone else. And that's why she's so obsessed with Mark and Miss Casey because she also has someone maybe in Cold Harbor that she wants to get back. Like there is something there. Um,
That ties in with the song. The
Oh,
Messiah is my sister.
wow.
yeah, so it could be her sister. I thought it was interesting that it was the last name. Well,
I
you
never
can't
noticed that.
see the
This.
last name, but it ends with BEL, so I'm guessing it's Cobell,
Oh, wow.
not Selvig.
This is why Marie is the Severance goat, people. Okay.
There we go. There we
I mean,
go.
you see it clearly in the back of her seat. You aren't you guys watching?
I saw, but I have
We do,
glasses
but
with
I
that
watched this show
description.
2 times, like once watching it and then once almost pause by pause to write down my notes. But there's so much in the frame, you don't notice everything, man.
Yeah,
There
Or I
wasn't
don't.
anything. It was just the back of the seat in a a breathing tube.
Shut up, Marie. Or the other way the line could go. It could hint about Devon, because Devon's Mark's sister. Is she going to be more involved in it?
I
I think she
mean,
is.
she's
She's always
getting
been the main character.
she's getting
Sorry.
more sussy about Lumen. Like,
Mhm.
What if they get, like you say, and we go along and it's her sister? What if they get Rosanna Arquette to play her?
Has she acted recently? I don't think
Not
they have
really,
to have
but
her actual sister though.
I mean, yeah,
yeah,
to have her actual sister play her actual sister would be awesome.
I don't think there was a secret sister in that family. I think it's just referring to like Mark and Devon as siblings. If that's
No, no, no. The Charlotte Cobell thing, like where you were
oh
saying that
Charlotte,
theory,
um,
because Rosanna Arquette's sister, Patricia Arquette. So that would be cool to have her like turn up, and
That'd
it
be
is
really
her
fun.
literal
They
sister.
do have a bigger
Or
budget probably.
I don't think so. I don't think she's done a lot recently. She's kind of in that
She's
I
just
only need to
a
work when I
new
need to work.
actress.
But another thing in the car, it's a tape, so it's retro again. Now this came out on CD, so CDs were around then. Why is it on tape? Or is
I
I
feel like this
again just
whole
reading too much into it?
community is based in the 70s.
The tech is.
I mean,
Tech.
yeah, I don't think there's time. Like, I don't even want to assign time to this. Like, it's like in its own
No, but it's very
universe.
heavily forcing itself to look like it's not even
Out of time.
past much 90s even. Like even with Mark's phone, it's a flip phone from the 90s. and all the
And his
cars are from
watch,
like,
like,
yeah, everything is very dated. Like, so I don't know maybe what necessarily what time it is, but the way that the town is infrastructured is, it feels like it's very specific to holding to a specific look and time feeling.
Is it clobbering time? Sorry, sorry.
I
Uh,
know. I'll take that. But yeah, I think like this community is set within a certain restriction of technology, even though the Severance is a very advanced for
the
everything
town
that's
of
around it.
Kia, as it were.
yeah. I don't know. I think it's like kind of just the genius of it. I mean, the Substance did something very similar as well, where like they had quite modern technology, but it also looked like it was in the 80s. It just like it
Mm.
gives like a timeless nature to a story. Like,
And if the
uh,
whole timeline of the story takes place within that town of Kia, then we don't need to know why it's then or why it's there, unless it's, there's a big revelation further down the line. Now, at the start with Mark, the first thing I was like, I didn't figure out what he was doing
no.
until pretty much the doctor says it to him, like right at the end of the episode. I was like, what is he doing? Why is he setting a watch? And yeah, it wasn't until, and it's funny because like last episode we talked about Dr. Rigabi, and I was like, I couldn't even remember her name. I was like, oh yeah, there was a doctor who had like reintegrated
Been a
PT.
while.
Been a while, but that's what the recaps do really well because they show you the information that is going to be important in the episode that's coming up. And I was like, oh, and she spells it out for us. That's what Mark's outie was doing. But this opening sequence, man, the way it was shot and edited, it literally felt like a Spike Jones Beastie Boy style video. I got like Sabotage vibes, with like that tracking shot with the zooms and the crashes and the tracking shot from him walking through the outside of the car. Jesus, I mean, this is before we even got to the credits. I did look a bit more in depth at the credits this time as well. And Mark is in the basement. What is he looking for in the basement? Is it literal or is it or metaphysical?
Yeah, well, I mean, what stood out to me about the credits, and it like makes sense, is the ending of the episode. Like, first of all, I'm gonna miss Innie Mark. I'm gonna like, I generally did not think they would reintegrate him so quickly, but if you look at the credits, it's always Innie and Outie Mark basically like helping each other through Lumen, and that
Hmm.
makes even more sense because now they have merged and like it yeah I don't know what that like entails because like reintegration I think is not despite what she says I still don't think it's very safe.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if like it means that they're immediately merged or if like they're gonna like fight for control of the body or something like that. But I thought it was interesting, especially that like one shot where in the credits where like they're diving through like a gap of the wall and like one of them pulls the other person through, and it's just like a really nice moment. It's just like, oh, I got you, bro. It's fine. Like it's just like, oh,
I don't think
uh,
I watched the credits.
Oh mate,
again,
there's so much in the
Jose.
credit.
We talked about this last week.
I was the one that didn't watch it last time. I did this time.
Oh,
I did this
sorry,
time.
sorry, Jose. The credits don't change.
What about when Mark it literally turns into a goat? When it kind of goes stop motion animation a little bit.
Yeah, I mean all over the place. Like at the end, he comes out of his own back of his head. So it's
That
like
eye looks more like Helly.
Or is it Gemma?
it's we don't know.
No, it's not
Are
Gemma.
there? And again, also obviously, like as we talked about last week, the Kier-faced baby crawling in with what looked like snow on him.
Oh God,
Yeah, that intro is just so weird. I don't
it's
even
yeah.
know.
Oh, and
I
Jose,
don't know
you
how
know
much.
none of it is AI, right?
Yes, we've talked about this. An artist came out and said it's his work.
Well, this brings us on to the next bit where Helly has that conversation with Earth.
Oh, Irv is so sus. Irv is so sus. I love it.
I
Um,
think yeah, his Audi is on a special mission.
yeah.
Well,
See,
it's when she says though, it's almost like a threat from Helena because she says, "Well, I think we all believe it's Helena now, right? Don't we?"
It's
I
like
mean,
90% there.
90%.
90.
Yeah. Like,
This
Yeah.
this was the episode that actually made you question it a bit more.
hmm
yeah,
I
I
think.
was
but I
paying
mean,
attention to her.
she's, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think Irv has picked up something. I've got a new theory with Irv because, like, I don't think he's reintegrated anymore because it would make strange having Mark and Irv be reintegrated. I don't know. No, maybe just narratively wise, maybe just start with one and then the entire team. But my new theory with Irv is that because his Audi was investigating Lumen, Irv saw that she was an Egan and knows that Helly is an Egan and is suspicious about the fact that she's not telling anyone. So that's why he's sus of her, because he's there. There's definitely something up.
Does Helena suspect Irv? Because there's that line where she goes, "We've got you," and it's like, oh, so many meanings to that line.
Speaking of double meanings, I love, because we talked about this in episode 1, I love that they pointed out the luminous listening thing where they were like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there's a double meaning behind that. I was just like, yes, because we were all like that. They're like trying to tell you something.
I think all the innies know that every word they say is being recorded. I
Yeah.
think they're all pretty sure of that. And then we have that corridor scene between Mark and Helly, and
Mhm.
it's so awkward. My God, the levels of
Awkward,
like,
or was there like a little bit of romance in there?
oh no,
I
it's
feel like
both. It can be awkward
Oh.
and romantic. He's like,
I
but it's just
honestly
awkward.
thought she wanted him to kiss him, and he just wasn't sure what to do.
Yeah.
Like he
Oh
seemed
yeah.
more like what's going on? But she, I feel like, whether it was Helly or Helena, I think she was kind of like,
Well, that ties into my theory from last one, where it's Helena, and that Helena actually kind of likes being Helly as opposed to in the real
yeah,
world she's like Helena Egan and has all this responsibility and that. Whereas when she's Helly down on the seventh floor, she, like you say, she can have that relationship with Mark down there.
yeah. I think that was, yeah. So it wasn't necessarily awkward in a
Oh, it
bad
was.
way, but just like, yeah, it was like a moment where I was just like, oh, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna do it again? All right, you
And then
know.
we had an unhappy Milchek when he sees Mark has just left his balloons in the hallway.
Yeah, he
It's
seemed
just,
really hurt by that, and I'm
yeah.
like, you're the villain. Shut up, dude.
It's, it's such a good character.
Where did that timing line up? When did Mark leave those balloons in the hallway?
Oh,
In the
Day
first
one.
first
episode.
episode.
The
Yeah.
first episode, right?
Yeah.
And then this episode had him finding them.
So it must have been.
Well, it would have been the next
Next
day, wouldn't
day,
it? Because the second
which-
episode was
But
the
that would mean
outers.
he'd not left his office on that. I got a bit confused by that when those balloons.
No,
At
because
what
there's
point?
another exit from his office, isn't there?
I feel like that
Like,
place is
But
amazing.
he just
You can go a
didn't
couple
leave and
different
come out
ways.
in the hallway and see those balloons left there at any point
Yeah.
after the first time in that first episode. So that's
Yeah.
I got a bit confused as to where those balloons came from and at what point he'd have
Maybe they
seen them
just
because I thought the
drifted
same.
to his path because they're helium balloons. So maybe like they just started drifting and then he only found them. I don't
See,
know.
if this was lost, there'd be an episode about the whole balloons journey for an hour.
yeah.
I don't think there's anything about the
Yeah.
balloons, but I do think it's interesting that he was
Yeah.
upset about it.
He seemed hurt. He seemed
He
genuinely hurt.
genuinely seemed hurt. Yeah, like a gut punch. It was weird.
Well, that's what again was my theory on Milchek is that is there a potential for him to join them and turn against Lumen because he's so devout, he's so much the bad guy, but then he will try and bring you back on side by like he honestly believes what he is doing is the best for them. He
Yeah.
believes it. He
Yeah.
wants to be like
But that's
No.
why I think he won't
Almost one of the-
convert. He's just gonna be the guy who was like, "Why? What? I did everything you wanted me to do."
Oh yeah, speaking of Earth, he comes up to Dylan and he's trying. Hey, let's do our hallway painting mission. Do you want to go and do that? And Dylan is definitely going to visit the family room, isn't he? Like, I mean, before we knew that, he's like, I now worry that Dylan is absolutely just going to rat them all out at some point. Now he's like, he's been bribed.
I don't know if
Yeah.
he'll rat them out, but
No.
one detail that I feel so satisfying is that Dylan, when he's in Innie, his glasses are all the way down here, but when he's in Audi, they're finally back up to his face. Did you guys notice that?
No, I never
No.
caught
Because
that.
that is the most annoying thing as someone who wears glasses to have them down all the way here, and I'm like, push them up, man, push them up. And I've even seen TikToks of people just like having fun with it, or like, oh, this is Dylan, because it's like the most frustrating. I'm like, oh, your glasses are gonna fall off.
That's
yeah.
so interesting.
Which way around was that? Sorry, the Outie has it down.
So the Aussie has it up,
Oh,
and then
okay.
the Innie always on the cusp.
So you
of
saying
falling
the
off his
Innie
face.
doesn't really need glasses? Is that what we're saying here?
No,
and the
it
Audi's
just shows you
or it's
personality
just-
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's different personalities, and we kind of learn that later on. We'll get to
Yeah.
that scene in
Yeah.
a sec. But Miss Huang returns, and I did a fun fact, Jose. In Chinese mythology, Huang refers to a female phoenix. Is she a clone?
Oh, she's a clone.
She's a clone.
The goats are a clone. I think it's a clone.
Pineapples, clone. It's cloning, right?
I am full on to the theory that they're cloning easily.
trying to work out exact cloning, right, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because again, another theory I saw online to do with this episode was someone said, "Is the board
This
an
one,
AI?"
this one, I'm fully invested in. The
Oh,
board
is the
being
board an
AI.
AI?
Yeah, or the board being because the
Oh.
board they've this was the first episode where I thought this watching it because they constantly reference the board, and you obviously think in a work setting the board as a group of people sitting around a table as a board meeting, but they constantly said the board, and it was almost to the point where they were saying it was like singular, almost like a name.
Yeah.
Like Kevin in She-Hulk.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
not
was,
No
and
one got to the last
I'm
episode,
full
did they,
on
Barbie?
the board is either it's not a group of people. It is. The board is singular.
Interesting.
Maybe it's
Can I-
like an oldie, timey computer, which is why all the language is so.
That I
Like
mean,
an
interesting.
older
I
program?
don't. I never thought about that, and I maybe. I mean, at least we know one thing: they're at least all white.
That's
But
the next section, actually. Yeah.
but now that you said that, if because one thing about the control room, the old control room, when you were like looking at like the different settings, there's like one that says beehive. And I
Huh.
mean that could link to your theory because like what is a beehive? Just a common collective like working together. I don't know.
A hive mind.
A hive.
Like
That
hive
ties
mind.
back into the
exactly.
song. Ain't no queen. Ain't no king. She's the queen.
So
The queen
That's
bee.
an interesting theory.
can I ask then, if we're talking about the board, I have to give credit to Sydney Cole Alexander who plays Natalie.
Yeah, this
She
was her coming out party, man, wasn't
she
it?
does an amazing job, and with little they give her, when she congratulates Milchick on his paintings, and you're like, what is she holding back? Like, if the board is AI, does she know? Does she hear? Because she hears them.
I don't think she's holding back. I think she's telling with her eyes, like, dude, this is fucked up. I know that
Yeah.
too. Like, this is extremely racist. I'm like,
Yeah,
like,
it's like,
And it-
how involved is she, or is she just another pawn like everyone else?
I think the board doesn't actually have a voice as well.
what do you mean? How do they
Well,
communicate?
how can she
then?
relay information then?
Well, how are they seeing feelings in digits? It's all emotion based. Everything with the board's emotion based.
Yeah, but she has
And
to.
then the
They have to
digits are
physically say
emotional
something to
based.
her for her to tell
And
them
I
what
don't
they've
think.
said.
I don't.
Well, they also have a voice
when
that's
they
another.
speak.
That's maybe a bit more. I'm full on the board being singular, but I'm like 50-50 on the board not being able to verbally communicate.
But we have heard them. They have a
Have we?
speaker.
Yeah.
Have
the
we
first
heard
season.
them though?
No, we haven't heard the board. But they only speak to. Have
To
we heard
Natalie.
them?
We've
Have we
not.
heard-
I don't think we've
In the
heard
first season,
the
they
board's voice, and
Yeah.
I don't think they're verbal. I think they can communicate through either emotion, so like how
We-
they can see the digits, emotion. It gets an emotional attachment to the data.
No, we heard their voice in season 1
Did
on the
we?
speaker.
No.
To
If we
Cobell.
did,
Yeah,
I'll
they were
eat
speaking to Cobell.
I'll eat the theory, and that's it, obviously, because. But
You
I
would-
can't. I mean,
was
you was
early
the one
on
that's
in
watched
season
the
1, that's
series
why.
recently, season 1. Can you remember?
Yeah,
them
but I
speaking?
missed like the whole tube on the back
Thing-
seat, so you know.
details.
I did really like as well the sing song way Natalie says hello back. I was just like, just the delivery there. And the board is jubilated at your ascendance. I mean, and ask if you feel appreciated. And the Black Kia recanonized paintings. I mean, one, it explains the hierarchy of Lumen, the old timey language and racism. So I'm wondering whether whatever is in charge, whoever or whatever is in charge, it's from a program that was designed way long ago, and which is why the language that comes through certain people there is so old timey and strange. I mean, most things Cabell comes out with, you're like, people don't speak like that, and you're terrifying. And obviously, yeah, the inherent racism. But yeah, like you say, that moment between Seth and Natalie, they say everything they're supposed to say,
Yeah.
but none of them buy it. And it's just eye acting. It's just like the look where she's like,
So
she's
wonderful.
over smiling too much. It's like, but you can see like the terror in her eyes just slightly.
Apparently, the board says yes in one episode.
Ah.
They said they
Oh.
reply with a yes. I'm still sticking with my emotional communication though, in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
But they-
feel
but
like
maybe
so much
getting rid of the
talking-
fact that they're not verbal.
I don't think they're not because like would Natalie just be like pretending, like just
Yeah.
nodding to herself.
Severance is that weird.
Also,
like
Did anyone else get out vibes there in that scene as well?
I have not seen the movie.
Jose, you're going to be thrown out of America. Jesus.
It's a horror movie. I
I
want
mean,
to
Uh,
though.
It's a very
It's,
good horror movie.
it's one
it's
of the
now
best.
now a
of course I've
trilogy.
never
I kind of
seen
know
Run
it.
and
the
rabbit
twist.
run. Anyway.
Well, next we cut back to Cobell, and she's looking going to Salt's Neck, and this is a theory I've got here, and this is kind of what I briefly mentioned earlier that they're in the town of Kia, right? Could it be a Matrix style deal where the whole town is just like one level of Lumen, like are all the Outies and the families we've seen there all part of the same program somewhere? And ironically, the Innies are actually the real people, and the Outies are not. Can you even leave Kia? Discuss.
No, I don't think so. I
No.
don't think to that degree. I think that because of the Mark's sister and her husband are not
Yeah,
part
yeah.
of
And we've
Lumen.
seen the Door Factory, and they're like
No, but what
Severance,
I'm
and they're like,
saying
nah,
is
mate.
all the
You know?
outside places are just as fake as the inside places there. Everything within the town of Kia is just a kind of program or a whatever the show ends up being. It's all
Once
within that
again,
one
I think
maintained thing.
Pantheon and Severance is merging in your brain.
They are a tiny bit, tiny bit.
Yeah, like David said, when he went to interview for another job, the guy hated the severance idea. So like, how could the company control that? Or like,
And there are
because
protesters for Severance in season one.
Yeah, bring
Um,
the protesters
yeah,
back.
I feel
uh,
like there's certain neighborhoods that are full of employees from Lumen, but I don't think that the whole
I,
town is controlled by them. I think
I
that the
do.
town
It's
is just
called
a
Kia.
I mean, they control the water, which is interesting. But you can do a lot with that. A lot of sinister shit. But I don't think it's like a Matrix C type situation. I think they want more control than they have.
I feel like as a company, they're supposed to be portrayed as something huge.
Just two of our hosts has just dropped away.
Sorry, a dog came into my room, and I got
Oh, show the
distracted
dog.
by a dog. Come here, dog. Come here. Oh dear. Oh dear, that's not good for your back. There we go.
Oh, he's a large Dutch hound.
He is. He's a standard. He a big boy.
Oh.
You gonna sit here on my lap? That's not good for your back, is it? What I just did. I'm sorry. There you go. You can sit here.
And we have been joined by Cheddar L as well.
Oh.
Now, of course, we have to move on to the goat room with its tiny door. And I don't know, the second I saw the tiny door, I just had such Eternal Sunshine vibes. I was like, this
I'm
is,
surprised you didn't say Willy Wonka vibes.
I mean, they're very different films, Jose. One's a musical about murdering children in a factory, and the other is a love story.
Yeah, which one replies better here?
I think Eternal Sunshine with the whole memory thing.
Memory wipes. Okay, I got you there.
Remember removing the memory of someone because it's too. I mean, if anything, there should be more Eternal Sunshine
Well,
references
being
in this
stuck in a
show,
factory
right?
against your
Right.
will. Mm-hmm.
Look out for poop. Love
Yeah.
love that line. And holy crap, there is a room full of goats. And what the fuck is that? I thought it was like a goat man hybrid, but it looked like a guy just wearing the stuff.
Yeah, he
It
just
was in
wanted to be one with the
camouflage.
goats.
Did he just skin a goat to
I-
make that?
No,
I
I think
don't
it was a
know.
fake
Because
goat.
it was made like it would have been made by the innie, and he was a black goat. Maybe because it was like a black goat, they were like, "Nah, fuck that. That black goat ain't made to be there."
Black Phillip
And
from
then
The Witch.
they just killed the goat, skinned it, put it on his head.
Brienne of Tarth turns up. It's Gwendolyn Christie. And apparently her character is called Lush. But do we actually hear her called that? I
Nope.
didn't think we did.
No.
No. But why does she think they're there to kill her? Does she still think she's in Game of Thrones?
No, it's just Lumen's propaganda, like sowing
Remember?
distrust between the departments so they don't unify.
Yeah, but wouldn't expect someone to walk into MDR and just start murdering everyone.
But that's what
Don't
they
you
thought would
remember?
happen. Like
First season, that
Ah.
happened a lot between them and the other department with
O and
Christopher
D.
Walken.
I
Yeah,
forgot about that.
Yeah.
that's a whole thing.
And they also like Lumen fueled that fire by like printing out like a fake painting of the departments killing each other in season
Oh,
one.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, what the fuck is mammalians nurturable?
I don't know. I mean, we would like the goats cloning, that's what we were saying. My big question about that situation is Do the Audis know that they're working with goats? Because as someone who has spent quite a lot of time on a farm, let's just say you smell quite strongly at the end of the day. So do their Audis just get in the car and go, "What the fuck? Why do I smell like goat shit?"
I feel
Like,
like at some point you're like, oh, you're working on a farm in there. I
yeah,
think to some degree you have to understand. Although, fun fact, from the end
I
of
love a
season
Jose
one,
fun fact.
so remember when Mark doesn't have his book and he's like, oh, you can share with this person. Oh, but she smells bad and has a chewing issue. Some people were saying that she was a person that was probably
working
cloned.
with the goats.
Yeah, and it was so
Interesting.
I didn't catch that until like someone mentioned it online. And so like, oh, are they human clones? Are they human hybrids? Are they messing with people? So that was really interesting to kind of catch that moment.
We're
It's
gonna sound
like,
like a bunch of Muppets if it ends up not being clone related.
I don't,
It's
Ah,
better go
whatever.
down the clone route.
I'm not sure. Like,
No, I'm not sure. I feel like they're pointing us in a certain direction to misdirect us away from
Yeah.
something else,
totally.
like the whole Helena Helly thing.
Yeah, that was
Everyone
good.
is like 99% sure that is Helena pretending to be Helly, but what if it isn't?
yeah.
Right?
And as I said, it was like the goats thing wasn't thought through when it first. They just thought it was funny.
So they're
Yeah.
retrofitting the
Yeah,
goats now.
I mean, like Ben Stiller said, I wasn't even sure we were gonna get a season two, so it was just one of those situations.
I mean, that image of the field of goats and then just the desk and the vending machine there.
Yes, the vending machine. I found the vending machine so funny, just in the background, so they still had that office material. But the actual set is also really cool when you look at the behind the scenes,
Oh.
just like how they shot it. I did not know that actors with goats would become like my favorite like sub genre in a way because they also had goats on Agatha all along. So there's also photos with the
Oh.
actors with goats. So I'm like, this is starting to become like a genre. But it's just yeah, the set
We had
design.
we had man-eating goats in my student 16 mil zombie western we made at uni.
I mean, they eat pretty much anything.
Yeah, so if you fill a dummy full of goat feed, they will eat it. And then you just put
Wow.
red food coloring in their mains. The problem is they are sadly very stupid animals because we were trying to get a track we had a dolly shot on tracks, and basically we'll get back to the point briefly, but some cowboys have stolen some cursed Indian treasure. They're trying to sell it to this guy on a farm. He's like, I'm not interested. And then one of the brother goes outside for a smoke and gets attacked by man-eating goats. Yeah, you just like see the body laying there with like no head, and the goat just. We wanted to shot of the goat just turning around and looking at the camera like all demonic, like with like blood over its face. The second we started pushing the camera on tracks, though, the goats they would either stand there and we thought we're going to hit the goat, so we had to stop because they just wouldn't move out of the way, or they would all panic at the last minute and run into each other and fall over. And then you're trying to reset and get the shot back and do it again. And the ghost would be like, they must have the memories of goldfish.
You
Like,
should have made it a comedy. That sounds hilarious.
it's a comedy, like unintentional comedy. Like, yeah, it was bad. Anyway,
On the set design, I got real Willy Wonka vibes from this. Like when they first go into that like room with all the candy and the grass hills are all rolling and
Thank you,
everything like
David.
that. I got
Thank
some
you.
real Willy Wonka vibes. Is that a point that was already made? Because if it was, I ignored it.
I said Eternal Sunshine. Jose said Willy Wonka.
Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
Jose, but
And
I
I
agree
mentioned
with
about
you.
child
No,
murder and
no,
chocolate.
I'm thanking
all
you
the good
for
things.
your support.
I mean, we don't abide such fripperies here. We don't abide. I mean, again, this just kind of ties in with the old timey language. How long has Lumen been around?
Well,
We
a
have no idea.
while.
A while.
I would say at least 50 to 60 years easily, but I think their propaganda makes them seem like they were timeless.
Do you know what made me this made me think of a little bit, Jose? You remember in Community when they went into the video game thing, the old 16-bit video game, and
Yeah.
Chevy Chase's dad literally looks like Colonel Sanders and but a bit like Kia. I was like, are they
Yeah.
referencing this slightly as well, potentially in that whole thing?
You never
One
know.
thing that I'm not to be honest not sure what to do with this, but like in episode 1 with the one that only speaks Italian, he said the way he got to his severed floor is by rope, and that the Egan department heads, like the wax sculptures that they have, were just paper plates on a broom. So
Oh,
that is just
wow.
like very interesting information that I've been stowed in my brain since episode one, where I'm like, I'm not sure what to do with that, but it's also kind of like references to like a time element where they're not as developed yet, and elevators might be like the old-timey elevators where you have to pull a rope, which is just, yeah, it's like an
Do you think it's
interesting
more of a budget situation?
a
No, it's
budget.
Apple, so no.
No,
No,
I
in
think
terms
he means within Lumen.
Hey, I'm very ill today.
Yeah, that could be like that where he was working that Severance
because he
for
seemed
was
like he
extremely
was
low budget.
from a different country, but like
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. Was he speaking Portuguese?
Italian.
Italian. So like he's working in an Italian town, maybe.
Yeah.
But why would they bring him in from so far away on
I
such
mean,
short notice?
in episode 2 they literally said that they just had like 48 hours to pull that together
Yeah.
because they were trying to get Mark back to complete Cold Harbor. But it's just like
Interesting.
it's just one of those really interesting where it's just like does that refer to like a time element there?
Is it one of these things where they thought of it? That'd be cool, and they have no idea where it's if it's going to be featured again.
I don't
Like you
know.
mentioned with
Because
the
it's just such a like
hey, but the goats weren't
interesting.
planned, like Marie said. So
Yeah, but the goats is a visual thing. Like this is dialogue, and just saying that like your Egan figures were paper plates on a broom is something extremely specific. Like they could have just left that out because that doesn't add anything to the story. That doesn't like add anything to the character. Same with like they're going down to the severed floor using a rope. That's intentional because like there's no narrative reason for that to be in there.
Yeah. There's a
And
lot of
there's
lore being put down.
yeah, that's exactly that's
I
lore.
I always thought with like the imagery of Kier and Lumen, like that it was something quite Mormon about it, and like
Yeah.
Joseph Smith
Hmm.
in how it was from that sort of time period,
Hmm.
like Brigham Young kind of thing.
Yeah. I
That
mean, the
was
house that they have in the middle of like the Severance,
Yeah,
that's
that's
like very
really
old timey.
well, and when we see the other goat people, they're very, very children of the corn, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like the vibe is really like kind of the vibe changes very quickly in there. But before we get to the end of that scene, we have Dylan Innie meets his wife. Well, his wife.
already. I'm just gonna interrupt. She's cheating with him.
With
Like,
Dylan G with Dylan Audi.
yeah, his wife's gonna cheat. Her Audi's gonna. She's gonna cheat on the Audi with the innie because you can see he's more productive.
I mean, come on. First, his opening line to her is "nice sack."
That is just such that's again such an interesting thing because he doesn't know what a bag is. Like that's just
Yeah,
another like interesting
yeah.
piece of dialogue. I was just gonna say I'm surprised that was his actual wife. Like I was like about to message Neil going, I bet you that's not his wife. And
Yeah,
then you
same.
Is
see
she an
like
actress? That's literally one of my things. Is
yeah.
she being brought in to manipulate him?
We
Because
saw
they
No,
look.
that
He's
scene
the one.
later
The
on,
week.
didn't we?
Yeah.
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 She's like not that lovey-dovey towards him. Like she only kisses him to the cheeks. I'm like, could that be his sister?
no,
Like
no. It's his wife because
No,
at the
because
end
you
of the
have to see.
episode.
We see their outie life later, don't we?
Yeah, so
yeah,
that's really
but
his wife.
To be fair, we only see them looking after the kids.
exactly. You
I
only
do
see
think
them
it's his
looking
wife.
after the
Yeah.
kids. So I'm guessing it's his wife, but
Yeah.
like, but then again, why would they bring her actual wife in? It's like,
Well,
Well, that could
they've
tie to
used
my
him.
theory of everyone in the town, in his and outies, all being part of the same thing.
I don't know. Her uniform, she's wearing like a uniform, so it looks like she's like a
Security
security
guard.
guard. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
somewhere.
she just has a different
At
schedule, which
Lumen,
is
maybe night shift at Lumen.
Mm,
maybe. I mean, I mean, I wouldn't say it's against. I'd say it's a possibility, but I think it just means that she's his wife. They have a strained relationship, and the theory that I saw is that there's potential for her to cheat on her husband with the innie because it's even though it's the same person, same brain, but it's a different personality, and
Do we think
already you
that's
can see.
cheating? Who thinks that's cheating? Is it
I think
cheating if you
so.
cheat on the same person, body, but different minds?
yeah, because there's
I
emotional
think,
cheating. That's kind of like the same
yeah,
thing.
I think that's what it falls
I think it's
under.
cheating as well, but yeah.
Yeah.
There's two very important things in this scene, though. Firstly, like you said, Jose Marie's point is that Dylan, throughout, always thought his outie was like mega successful, and then he's learning. Oh wait, my outie sounds like a bit of a loser. I'm the successful one because of the whole speech that Milchek's just given him beforehand. Oh, you are, you're getting this bonus treatment that no one else is getting now.
He reached a lot of milestones and got those
All the
rewards.
perks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And-
the most important thing I think from this scene is the bosses are only referred to by their surnames and the workers are referred to by their first names. Because when Miss Hung says you cannot share privileged information, when Gretchen mentions Milchek's first name is Seth, and he looks around and is like, oh, who's Seth?
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
So why is that privileged information? Because what can an innie do with that information? Right. So that's a whole other big can of worms opening up there on something.
Sorry, I think it's more of like a hierarchy thing. Like in school, our teachers called us by our first name, but we always called the teachers by their second name.
Yeah.
Power
Uh,
control. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And of course, and we live on a cattle ranch, because of course he doesn't know what
Yeah.
a restaurant like that or a cattle thing would be like. So
He doesn't know where they are.
That does look like a
really.
fun place though, where they went.
So I thought the photo was photoshopped.
all the photos are photoshopped in this, I think.
Yeah, so they made it look like that the cattle ranch. I didn't think it was like an event situation.
Oh, that photo of the family?
Yeah.
That's just an old-timey thing that's for fun. Do you guys don't have that?
No, no, no. We're talking about within the show, though. Like, is it a
Yeah.
real
Yeah,
photo
yeah,
within
yeah,
the show?
but that's
No,
like
That's
that
a real
they-
photo. That's where you get dressed up and you
No, no, no. We know.
I think that's what his family did. That his family went to a place.
Is
got
it a real
dressed up
picture,
for-
though?
I think it's a real. They showed the kids. They showed the
Yeah, but
kids
they could have
picture.
photoshopped the faces. Like
He's seen a kid before as well,
Yeah,
accidentally.
Yeah.
remember?
I think
So
we're
he-
going
yeah.
a little too overboard on what's real and what's not real in that sense.
But you
where
have to, Jose.
we have to. I don't trust anything. Like especially like anything from Lumen. Like
Well, here's the thing: is how lumen is that photo? It's not very lumen because it's very cowboy themed, very fun.
no, it's
Yeah, but
old
it's in
timey.
the severed floor, though. So I don't. Again, we don't trust anything on the severed floor, do we?
I'm gonna officially say then though that's her that's his family, that's his wife, that's real.
Like I'm denying it, not denying it's his family. I'm denying that like they photoshopped it so it looks like they are in like period.
Anyway, his wife Gretchen is played by Merritt Weaver, who was also, I believe, in season 2 of Fargo, and
Oh,
she was
okay.
amazing in that.
Yeah, I think to that degree, I think it's just a situational thing that for fun because it's like
We have
he's a
gone way too long on
happy-go-lucky
this, Jose.
father.
You've really got me
Yeah.
thinking about whether that's his wife or not again now.
I think it's
Well, I
his wife.
thought
like
she might be an
whether-
actress, and she's
Well-
just there to manipulate him.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
Merritt
definitely not an
Weaver is
actor.
But then we get the
No,
outie
it's not
scene,
an
don't
actor,
we?
he's
Yeah,
the actor,
yeah, but that outie scene makes you then think, oh yeah, it is his wife. But then
Yeah.
in that outie scene, what do we actually get that
Nothing.
shows that there is that
Yeah.
there's a loving
It's a-
relation?
The-
She
the
says
one-
that he loves her. There's the love. He says that she loves him, the innie, to the innie, and he's like, oh, that's so cute, like lovely.
Well, yeah,
That's quite
because
a
he's
cute
never heard it
moment.
before.
Yeah, which
Like,
is super
again,
warm.
one thing that I'm maybe not like reading into too much into this, but when he was interviewing for the Doors, the first thing he asks about is medical health insurance. And again, that's a very specific question, but maybe not. Maybe in America, it's a very standard question. But
No,
I
yeah,
don't,
for
like,
Americans.
So, like, before we actually saw Gretchen, like, my immediate thought was someone in his family is sick, and that's why he needs the money from Lumen.
Could still be. Could be one of the kids.
Yeah.
No, as an American, it's very common to be worried about having healthcare for your family, and if you don't have a job, that's a very serious concern. So that's more of a cultural thing, I feel. I hate to...
Moving on to OMD and Irv going down and being really sad because there's no Bert anymore. Marie's on the edge. Marie's on the edge already.
I'm sorry. I drew him every day. I couldn't see him. It killed me. It killed me.
But then we have Irv and Felicia hitting it off, like just like reminiscing and like really. But now, did he intend to show her the image of the hallway?
I don't think
Maybe.
so.
And now we get a name for it. Oh yeah, she recognizes it. It is the Exports Hall. What is the
And then
Exports
now
Hall?
people don't usually go anymore. It's just one person.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
What do they actually export? Tell me now.
Well, I mean, on Petey's map on season 1, there's like this little area in the background with houses, and he wrote "People live here." Like, would make sense that like the elevator leads to that, because also like O&D is like the biggest department with all the 3D printers, and it doesn't like all the stuff that they're printing. I mean, it doesn't really line up for office uses. It's just also another saying that Lumen makes their doors in-house from episode 2. So I don't know, like maybe that's what the exports hall is.
I'm having a look at his map now. Just I did, yeah.
Did you see in the corner where there's a lot of
Oh
houses
yeah, yeah,
and he
yeah.
wrote
Some people live here. There's also the
Yeah.
Coil of Doom, which I
Oh,
want to know
wow.
more about. The Coil
Yeah.
of Doom.
Let's get back to Mammalian's Nurturable, and we have the goat off. We find out that Miss Casey actually worked down there as well. And she I wasn't clear with this line because she worked there as well in the husbandry tanks, but she obviously worked talking to people near the husbandry tanks.
Yeah.
It was a
She
tiny
did
bit
the
unclear with that.
sessions in the husbandry tanks. That's what she
Gotcha.
said.
We would like to see your bellies.
It's all
That's-
that propaganda, remember?
Yeah, it's the
Like,
pouches that MDR
Pouches prove
have.
nothing.
No, that MDR have larvas inside their pouches. That's another Lumen propaganda that they spread. That MDR have a larva
completely
in their
forgot about that.
pouches, and they will burst out, kill the host, and become like a clone. So
How
that's.
did I miss all of this in the previous season?
I want to point out once again, I've only seen season one once last year. Neil has seen it 2 times, and quite recently.
Remember
It's
recently
also
there was that film,
under the-
Neil, where you completely forgot the ending.
No,
And just
that-
didn't pay any attention.
Don't remember
to
that
it.
one at all,
he
David.
didn't forget the ending. He never noticed it.
I'm like concerned of how Neil actually watches stuff.
To be fair, because he watches so much, I think Neil, this is what Neil does. Because he goes through so much content, he's got 3 different TVs going on at the same time. He's playing video games at one, he's watching something on one, and then he's probably got another movie going on the other one. And that's how he gets through so much content so quickly. Am I right, Neil?
Anyway, moving on. Danger Mouse on TV. Jose, are you familiar with Danger Mouse?
No, I'm not sure I am.
Marie, Danger Mouse.
No,
Mouse.
I generally thought that was a show original. Like,
It is an actual show from my childhood. David, we obviously know.
Danger Mouse.
Danger Mouse.
Oh, Danger Mouse. I just Googled it.
Danger Mouse.
Wow, this is old.
That's what we're talking about, right?
There's people like in tubes getting like moved around in that little clip from the cartoon.
Oh.
I was more Pinky in the Brain kind of person.
Yeah, where we see the pineapples on the table again.
we do. I missed the pineapples.
Yeah, there's more pineapples in it.
Have I
You
missed
sure
the
you're not
pineapples?
talking about the most
Marie
recent
missed
episode?
something. Yeah, when we have the scene at Dylan's Out His Life, you see the cut up pineapple on the table.
Oh, I'm so because I was thinking about this as we started recording. I was like, "There's no
Where are the
pineapple
pineapples?
in this episode."
Yeah.
Oh, I missed the pineapple.
Neil isn't going senile quite yet. All right.
Hey.
And then we have Natalie Kalen, so we know her Natalie K, so we know her surname, in the real world with Rickon.
Oh.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was really interesting.
Devin has such a good what the fuck face when she walks in and just sees them sitting there.
And so obviously there's like the whole, oh, is she going to cheat on me kind of vibe, but more it's like, oh, this is a corporate kind of espionage thing.
It's just a creepy
She's
smile.
just got such a hate, like a suspicion of Lumen at the moment.
Yeah.
Like anything to do with Lumen, she's heightened. She's on edge.
With the severed floor, so obviously then Natalie isn't severed either, because here she is in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the question. If Helly is Helena Egan, as we all suspect, and the outside world knows she is, that surely means management who aren't severed, like Milchek, should know who she is.
They
Which
do.
makes me question, how could they have come so close to letting her kill herself as Helly in season 1?
I don't think they really knew how bad she wanted to get out.
Yeah.
Because that's a very extreme
Well, she did it.
situation.
Well, yeah. She tried to kill herself, like in a sneaky way, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because they'd have
Yeah.
obviously stopped anyone from killing themselves.
We have Devon and Mark in the garage, and again, I was like, what is Mark doing?
I love that scene because like they're up to something, but it's also just siblings bonding. It was really nice.
Yeah. It's like we're just making little crafts. We're just doing our thing.
And of course, we see Milchek putting away the paintings. So I guess he's not a fan of, really racist, old-timey, recanonized portrait of Keir. Showing Milchek have that reaction to it, again, when he's not around anyone, it adds more fuel to my fire that he's going to turn at some point. He's going to turn away from the Lumen.
See, I don't think my theory is that he's gonna turn on the board and not Lumen and become Lumen. He's
Okay.
too much. He's too much of a psychopath to be a good guy. Like, this man lies through his teeth so easily. Like, and he
Yeah.
genuinely
For the
believes
greater
in
good, though.
Lumen. For the greater good, literally.
And it's only when we cut back to the garage then that we learn that Mark's trying to burn the message, "Who is alive," into his retinas, which then explains the opening. Because I was like, why is he counting? What is this?
Yeah, I thought he was like trying to like run into someone, like run into his co-workers on his severed floor, and that's why he was timing himself. That was my first like initial reaction, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was
I feel like
interesting.
the eyeball idea is just ridiculous. There's no
It's
way your retina's
it's
going to hold that.
no, and it gets pointed out like you're trying something that you read on the internet, but that's that's
Yeah.
another interesting tidbit. The internet exists, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually thought the burning a message into your retinas was a really clever idea. But aside from the timing element of it that he's just trying to do, I was like, oh, that's so clever. He's got to just bring this big light into his locker, which is what I thought he was going to do.
Oh, man.
Flash it there, and then go into the thing and have this message there.
I mean, if he had it in his locker, maybe, but like he has to bring that light into the office and then go down to
yeah,
that
because at no
area.
point does anyone check anything's on him until he gets to his locker. So I just thought, yeah, do it at your locker.
Oh, a big spotlight under your arm.
Yeah, no one's gonna
I
Maybe.
don't
notice. No,
know.
it's whatever, man. You could have a bag. Just bring your bag in. There you go. Drop your bag off.
It's like, sir, what is this bag that you've never brought in before? Is that normal?
Yeah, totally.
And then, of course, we get Cobell making her return. And again, every line that Arquette delivers, it just sounds fucking terrifying. Like, if you want me back, you must accommodate my needs. And
Yeah.
then, what does she want? She wants Milchek gone. But then,
Who does she see? Who is
That
it? The person
guy.
that she sees, and then she's like, "Oh,
yeah,
I'm out."
who was that
I
guy?
don't
And he's
know, I'm
like, she
out.
like that terrifies Cobell and makes her literally run away, well, walk very fast and get back in the car again. There's a line that, like, when she goes, "I don't want an apology," and like, Helena's apology is just such bullshit again, isn't it? He's just like, she's not believing a word of what she's saying. But then when she says to her, "Why don't we reset?" And that's again, that's a loaded phrase right there. It isn't like, it isn't like that standard. Oh, let's just start again. It's what does reset mean in the grander scheme of things?
Their lines are very well placed. That's what's great about this show.
Oh, the script is so good.
But who's the
Like,
guy? Why is she
That
scared?
guy, that something happened with that guy. He's not. He probably, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he was someone who did something in the past and got reset, and then now he's just a driver. Who knows? Like someone who's severed before.
Ben Stiller. He knows. But maybe.
Yeah.
We'd like to hope he does.
And as we mentioned in the last episode, Dr. Rahabi, who we hadn't seen in ages, and where is she getting her information from as well, right?
that's the thing. She has someone, and it maybe like bolts my theory that Irv is working with her, because she knows what's going on. But the thing is, one thing that I thought was weird, because she obviously wanted Mark to reintegrate in season 1. He didn't go for it because he saw what happened to Petey. But then, like, obviously he changes his mind the second he learns his wife is alive. Why didn't she just tell that to him from the beginning? Like,
Yeah, what do you say? By the way, your wife's alive.
yeah, because that would instantly like get
Here's
him
the thing:
to
is
switch.
maybe she doesn't know she's alive, but she believes she is, and she has no proof. And I know this is kind of like a random comment, but you know what I just remembered in the previous season when his sister was pregnant and they were at that cabin, she met that politician's wife, and then later she bumped into her again, had no clue who it was, and then we saw her at the last episode. So it doesn't seem like like I think we've realized we don't have to be in a specific place to go from innie to outie. Do you think there's people that are innie and outies versus like in different scenarios? Like maybe, oh, I don't know how. I'm just
Well,
kind
yeah,
of.
because with like stuff like the OTC, the overtime contingency, they
Yeah.
can turn it on and off as they need to.
But
So
do you
yeah,
think there's people who are innie and outies that don't know it? Like that one woman who was pregnant and had babies.
Yeah, she was just created to give birth. That is so fucked up.
Yeah, it's
Like,
pretty bad.
and then my next note was, will Mark attempt reintegration? Literally, the next line he says, yes, let's do it. I want to see my wife. I was like, oh, okay then.
Yeah,
yeah, I
that
did
whole
not
process
think
was
it
pretty
would
cool.
be.
This quickly.
Yeah, this quickly. Yeah,
And then he has the hand tremor straight away. He's like, oh no, that's not good. The oscilloscope brain tuning thing, man.
Yeah, there's only
That
8
felt like a scene
episodes,
from
though,
a
right?
video game where you're trying to like.
To me, it kind of looked like a coat hanger. Like she was just waving a coat hanger about him.
And of course, this all leads to Mark waking up on the table. So my question is: do we next episode, episode 4, get a flashback episode to Mark's first day? Do we get to see PT again?
We saw a little bit of Mark's first day when he was compared to Helly, wasn't it? Didn't we?
No, I don't think
This
so.
is a Neil asking this question that's already seen that episode twice already.
Yeah.
So I feel like Neil
Episode
knows
4.
that we're gonna get that.
All right, so
Yeah.
we're getting a flashback episode.
Or I could be doing a David double bluff.
Although we've noticed like Neil does miss things, so
That as well.
sorry, I feel really mean right now. But it is true that 3 of us haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, but I wrote these notes before I saw it
Yeah.
last week.
I see.
I don't
So,
know.
yeah.
I don't think maybe we'll get like flashbacks, so I don't like not a whole episode, but like flashes. But
Back. His old friend that passed away in the previous season. Do we see him again? Everyone but Neil answer.
Who? Sorry.
The guy who was his office mate, who he
Petey.
took over for.
Petey.
Petey.
There we
we
go.
literally just been talking about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Who'd you say? Vasquez.
That's his actual. That's the actor's name.
Okay.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, we don't know that shit.
Jose was clearly more familiar with than Petey, who we were.
I'm
just
looking
talking
at
about.
the cast list. Sorry, and it didn't have his name.
Well, that's too much. That's a spoiler, Jose. You shouldn't do that.
The
Don't Google.
spoiler.
Well, you're not. You googling him for cast list for episode 4.
No, I'll just do the general cast, and it's usually just it's giving me the season.
Still,
one
it is
cast.
I mean,
still-
now we know
no.
that he's going to be in episode 4 because bloody Neil is just said it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did because you've just
I
said
did.
he's looking at the cast list for episode 4.
No, I said, are you looking
must
at
know
who's
that
in
he's
the cast
episode
list?
4.
No,
I'm looking at
I'm saying-
season
Don't
1
get a hole
cast
for
list.
yourself, Neil.
Hey,
Just
moving
stop
on.
it. Throw a rope down. Time out. Come on.
Honestly, next week you guys are gonna apologize to me so much, so much.
Yeah,
Right. The last thing is, as always now, the behind the scenes bit. So we still don't know what Brianna Taft's name is in this, because although an article I read said she's called Lush, we've never heard that said in the show yet. And what the fuck are the goats actually for? Are they exporting the goats? That's the only thing I can think of. This episode kind of explores what being a person of colour is like at Lumen, and it basically looks a little bit like Get Out, let's be honest.
yeah.
I mean, it's like a commentary of basic tokenism that like corporate companies do. It's the same with like a Pride, like companies who don't give a shit about the queer community, and then Pride comes, a Pride rolls around, and they're like, "Take this mug with the Pride flag on it, and so we can profit."
What can we
off
put
you."
a rainbow on this month?
Exactly.
Dan Erickson, the creator of the show, says in this behind the scenes bit, will Natalie be an ally? So I was there thinking about, is Milchek going to turn at some point? But if he's saying that Natalie might be an ally, that suggests she's going to be an ally to Milchek. The Seth turn is coming. The Seth Milchek turn is coming, I believe. And I do like how, like they said, they incentivizing Dylan now, where instead of perks, it's with his family. And of course, by doing that, he can't tell the others, which then isolates him from them. His family is a new perk to keep him in line. Will Dylan betray them going forward? I think he will.
I think they're going to slowly isolate Mark from the others. Like, do you know how they wanted to like not bring them back all together in the first episode? I think they're slowly going to isolate Mark from everybody else. So one by one, each of them will sort of slowly have their own thing, and Mark will be left isolated.
I don't know, because Mark is too valuable. Like, Mark is valuable. All the other ones are disposable. Like,
Yeah, I say by giving Dylan the family time, they're accidentally isolating him. He's going to be
they're
stressed
doing
out.
that not accidentally. They're doing that
No,
on
it's on
purpose.
purpose.
Like, that was clear
They want
from
Dylan to be
episode
their
1
snitch.
when
But
they
I don't
showed
think
him
it's
the
to isolate
blueprints.
him. I think it's going to slowly, all 3 of them are going to have something that's going to pull them away, and Mark will be left on his own. Potentially. We'll see.
I have another heli theory that I saw online, and it's crazy, and I kind of I think if they did it right, it would be kind of cool. What if there never was a heli, and it's always been Helena?
It's unlikely. Why would
It's
she have watched
unlikely.
the video?
You'd have to have like the flashback bit showing her kind of where it was her doing all these things.
But like
But-
where she
but-
killed herself, wanted to
Yeah.
commit suicide. That doesn't
and
make
cut
sense.
off all her fingers.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
her watching that video of her kissing Mark and that acting like she didn't know it.
Hey, I didn't say it was my theory or a good theory. I just thought it was an interesting theory.
But let
Don't
me
read other
explain
people's
about
theories.
let me explain with Dylan because I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make him comply,
Yeah.
and so that he won't be a part of the whole like
Well, he already is.
craziness.
He's not going off with Earth to look for corridors.
Correct. So I think though that will cause him to have a rift with the other three characters, and they won't. I don't think they expect things to go badly. I think they're like, oh, he'll comply, then the others will comply as well,
Mm.
or we'll find other ways to make them comply. But I don't think they realize that could literally be like an explosive situation because of
I
how
think they
good
do.
his
They
friends
know
are.
Dylan goes mental. Dylan's the one who was it when in the fight and jazz workplace dance music experience. Ah, he's biting me.
Also, like the minute you ask someone to keep a secret from someone else, you're creating a rift. Like that
Yeah,
is just like basic
especially now with
manipulation.
I think Irving is going to be our kind of like an unsung hero here, with
Ah,
Bert gone. I really think he's a good character.
he's so Irving went
Well, they're
from
all.
my least favorite character to my favorite character. Like I did
Yeah.
not like Irvin because like especially in like the first few episodes of season 1, he's the
Mhm.
kid who like went, "Excuse me, miss, you forgot to give us homework." Like that was the vibe. Like the one kid in class you all hate it. But
Yeah.
now, oh god, I love him. He's so precious. Like protect him at all cost.
Yes.
Right.
Why
Well,
did
I
kids
believe.
do that in school? That was so dumb.
I know. What a
Attention.
fucking
Fuck
dork.
They
kids.
want
Oh no!
attention.
Cut.
What?
Jesus,
Where are we going to
Wha-
next?
we're going home. We're done. That's it.
Oh, is that
End
it?
of the
We
podcast.
don't get to
That's
go
it.
home, Neil. What are you talking about?
Ah.
We get to stay
yeah.
here and pod forever, remember?
Oh my goodness.
Well, that's all the time we have on this week's episode of the seventh section of the We Need Heroes podcast. And well, everyone, I think you've overestimated your contributions and underestimated your blessings today. Marie S., where can people find you in the Lumen Sphere?
You can find me on the interwebs underneath the handle Life on Mars, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. And if you enjoy me talking badly about massive corporations and how much they suck, you can check out my other podcast called Two Girls, One Reusable Cup.
And Jose L.
Yes, if you want to find me on Instagram, my photography page is at Jose Lopez Photos, mostly just me sharing Instagram stories of me working at weddings. And if you actually want to see the wedding photos, you want to go to my website, www.jlopezphotos.com. There is no Jennifer Lopez or any photos of her at her weddings, but just the weddings I photographed.
Do they have you recanonized all your pictures, wedding pictures, with Kia in them?
I haven't, but I think I might now. That might take a while.
And David?
You can find my outie at We Needed Roads on Instagram, and he's also on Blue Sky under Long D. So just search Long D on Blue Sky, and
David.
I'll come up. I'll be there.
David, we do not abide such fripperies here, I have told you.